Hello peeps, Dee here. Welcome to my studio, welcome to my channel, and welcome to this little tutorial. Now this class is another installment in the what the heck do I do with these? See these little canes? Yeah, it's a question I get quite a bit from people. What do I do now? And it is a question I had when I first started caning as well. I would cane and cane and cane because I really liked the process, and then I would make all these canes and then I would have not a clue as to what to do with them. So that's what this class today is. What the heck do I do with these? The answer in this class is you make these. Let's make a necklace. Let's get started. Okay, my peeps. So first of all, I get this question a lot. I'm scooting my chair up to my work table. I made it. I've had questions about the box. Where did you get the box? The box is made by J&J. It is a 22 Hornet 357 Rem Max. This is, I don't know why you would want this, to tell you the truth. I mean, don't bullets come in boxes? It's a box. It's for bullets. It's for shells. It's for whatever. I know nothing about guns. I know nothing about ammo. I just know that this little box is really good for this purpose. So if you're looking, I have looked for this. I can't find these exact ones. I will try again, but you might check out a place like Cabela's. I don't think Dick's sells guns and stuff anymore, but you might look at a sporting goods store and you might get lucky and find them. Okay, because these are perfect for these little tiny reduced canes that I seem to have a lot of. Look, see, I found another one, and you just kind of store them this way. What are you up, leaf? My problem is there aren't quite enough spaces for all the little eeny weeny dinky canes I have. I should reduce this down a lot and put it in here. It's another one I could reduce. Anyway, so this is what I'm going to be working off of to make this. Now, of course, because you don't have these, yours is going to look completely different. And as a matter of fact, if you're new to caning and maybe you've only made the most basic canes like bullseye canes, something like that, you know, no one says you have to have this many canes to make this piece. I could make the same bead over and over again. This would be a nice necklace if I just made a necklace out of this one cane, even this one cane, this one cane. So I think you get the picture. This is just a way of using what you have. Okay, so let's begin. All right, peeps. So let's start by making the cylinder. Let's make our base beads first. We got to make those first. Okay, so what I'm going to do is take this scrap clay. Now this is scrap from another project, the daisy chain cane, and I'm going to use it rather than fishing out other scrap clay because it's nice and dark. And for this particular shaped bead, you know, this kind of squashy like that, you know, if I'm not quite as careful about covering the ends. You know, I do my best, but I'm not quite as careful. And so sometimes the core clay shows through. If it's dark, it shows through less. So I'm just going to go ahead and use this. So I will take all of this clay and roll it until I don't have any of the white, till it's a uniform color, and then I'll be back. So here's my graphite colored clay. Now, it's very nice. I could just actually, you know, fold it, take it, and put it over there and use it as good clay. Yeah, I could. But I'm going to continue. and roll it up. Now, I could just use this, of course, as my core and be done with it. The beads would be very nice with this underneath the canes, wouldn't it? Yep, would be. But let's say you don't have this very nice color and you want to make it black. Well, gonna have to cover it with black. Here's my black clay. I'm gonna roll it into a sheet and then wrap it around. Okay. This is the second time I'm doing this because even though I've got this tape all over, yeah, guess who went off? Actually, the reason why I went off is because I zoomed in. Okay, so I'm going to show you guys something. Oh, it won't do it. Oh, see, look at that. Holy mackerel. Yeah, well, anyway, so the tape, you can see in this shot, the tape is like way out of frame. What can I say? Maybe someday. Maybe someday. All right, so this is black clay. It's actually not quite black. It's got a little bit of metallic in it. But here we go. It is definitely blacker than the graphite clay. All right. Righty tighty too. That's good. Roll it up. And now I am going to roll this down until it is 15 millimeters in diameter from here to here. How do I know this? Because that's what I did before down here. So this clay is more about, how to make this one simple kind of chubby rondelle kind of shaped bead. And then, of course, using all those wonderful canes you have stashed away. And if you don't have wonderful, what am I talking about? Of course you have wonderful canes. I'm just, see, this is what I did before. Okay, so I didn't talk about this the last time, but you can use other colors. Other colors would make kind of an interesting necklace too. You don't have to make everything black. It's a little smaller, I would say, so let's make it just a tiny bit larger by pushing it. That's actually really good. Okay, so we're sticking with this. Now I'm going to take the 10 millimeter side, put it right there, actually there, and just press the rod right into the tool and cut them. Ooh, oh, you know what? This blade was feeling like very dull. Yeah, I have to, okay, I'll clean that up later. I cut something that maybe I shouldn't have. Luckily, I have a lot of other blades to pick from. So I'm just going to cut all of these all the way down. Or not. Now, each one is going to get that same treatment we do, where we lightly pinch in the ends, and then we start drawing the clay from the sides up over to cover the scrappage inside. Okay, and you know, because this is so dark, see how dark that is? If I don't get full coverage, not really gonna see it. Yeah, not too much. So I do as good a job as I can, but it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. Again, if the core was a very light color, yeah, I'd have to pay more attention. So as you work, you might consider that too. It might, you know, sometimes we balance time and effort with, you know, our materials, okay? So as I said, I could have taken that nice graphite and stashed it away and went fishing for another color, or even used something along these lines like that, or that kind of weird purpley color that a lot of scrap turns. But then I would have to work harder at this point. Now, do I want to work harder? Probably not, because I'm going to have to make a whole bunch of beads. So any energy or any way of working more efficiently that saves me time is probably worth it. It's worth it to use this beautiful graphite colored clay this way. All right, now each one of them, I would just do all of them, and then each one gets a hole. So I just take my needle, I go straight down like that, flip it over, then go straight through the middle again. Now, see, I squished it. That's ultimately what I'm going to want. But when I'm putting on my cane slices, I want round. I'm not doing a very good job of round, am I? Well, it's more round than it was. See? All right, so now we're going to put some canes on. I'll be back. Okay, so basically there are 3 that I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the most, well, the most of the beads are made using round canes. Then I'll show you square, little kitty face. And then there are a couple, primarily the black and white ones, and they are wrapped in kind of a different way. So along this band, you don't see any of the clay underneath. Okay, so let's start with this guy, which is what basically most of these are. Now, depending on the size of the cane itself, this kind of determines the number of cane slices you put around the equator of the bead. Now, here's the equator, and I always work on a needle. The equator is, of course, right there, right across the middle. And so we're going to start there. So this is not the smallest of my round canes. It's not the biggest. This might be 6. This might be 4. As I said, it just really depends on the size of the cane. So I'm just going to secure one. Now, when you do that, you're going to look from the side and see if the distance from the cane to the needle on both sides is the same. I tend to go off a little bit. Here, maybe it'll help to put the needle all the way through, so you might be able to see more clearly. See the distance from the edge of the cane to the needle, edge of the cane to the needle, and rarely are they equal for me. So I'm going to flip this over and try to find the exact spot opposite. Sometimes you have to look at the top, see if you have to scoot it over just a wee little bit like that, so that it's directly opposite. Now, the one thing about when you're looking from this point of view, the bead is not always perfectly round, so maybe one side pooches out a little more than the other. So you just have to be aware of that too. Just do your best. I mean, this is not some kind of high precision work. You just do the best you can. And in my experience, everything works out just fine. Now, I also don't pay too terribly much attention to the pattern, which maybe I should, but you know what? I'm not. Now, at this point, you can do a little bit of adjustment as well. Maybe this guy goes a little bit further over here. Maybe I need a little more space in between them. So as long as you don't really push them down like that, you can move them. You can still move them. Now see, I think I have more space below than above, but hey. Now, I've reduced this cane down a bit, and if you guys, I'm trusting that you know about clay. If you have canes, then you know how this cane becomes this one, right? Is kind of apply pressure on the outside and you stretch it out. Okay, so I'm making some assumptions in this class that you are not an absolute beginner. Maybe I should do some absolute beginner caning classes. Okay. Now, I will take and position one of these reduced canes in that space between each of the original 4. And now it's just easier for me to turn the bead around and repeat the process. Okay. Put them down. Take it off, roll lightly between your palms. And, you know, if you wanted to, of course, you could keep rolling until these slices are absolutely integrated into the base bead and totally smooth if you wanted. But I kind of like the fact that they're not for this particular piece. Now I'm going to take my fingers and flatten. And this is how we complete the shape we want, like so. Okay. Now I would recommend doing all of them, just setting them aside, and then before you cure them, inspect each one to make sure that some aren't substantially thinner or larger than others. Okay, there we go. So there's bead number 1. Now let's do a square one. I'm gonna put this on. I'm gonna do kitty kitty. Looks like my Ditto cat. Ditto cat, who's a cute little black cat. I've had many, many, many black cats in my life. I love black cats. Okay, so let's take the first Ditto. Oops. And I'm just going to tilt it so that the corners are sitting on the equator. Okay. Now let's do the opposite side. Now these canes are quite a bit smaller, right? Can you see? They're kind of tinier. So once again, you have to sort of inspect from the top view. That looks good. Make sure that these corners are on the equator, and then try to fill in the space like so. Now, 2 more. Two more Ditto canes. Now the space here is bigger, isn't it? It is. Trust me on that. Sometimes it happens. So yeah, this space is going to be, there's going to be a little more space between the ditto slices. But I will live with that. So here is ditto. Now filling the remaining space above and below the equator, because I had 6, so I'm just going to take, I guess I could put dittos like this, 3 dittos. To just 3 little dittos. Like so. And then if I wanted to, I could fill these spaces with perhaps a tiny little, maybe just a tiny little, let me go back. Do I have a violet, a really tiny violet? I don't seem to have a teeny tiny violet. But I have something that looks like that. Maybe so. Oh, maybe this is the one. This is the one. Kind of picks up on the color of the nose. Okay. Oops. Hello. What is that? I have a little piece of fuzz, like a tiny little piece of fuzz. Something like that. Flip it over and repeat. 1, 2, 3. 1 ditto, 2 dittos, 3 dittos. Okay, now I don't want to change the direction, I don't believe. I will do the same. But you know what, I think I will alternate so that this little cane is going to be in that space. Yeah, I'm way off on this side. So sometimes that happens. But to be honest, there's so much happening in the patterning and all the different beads. Not sure anybody's really going to notice. Okay, some of you eagle eyes will notice. All right, now same thing. Roll. And then flatten. Restore the hole. And set ditto aside. Okay, so that's number 2. Now the last one we're going to deal with is when you have a cane like this. Now I like using these black and white canes. It kind of interrupts the color, or it imposes a certain kind of standard, I don't know, to the whole thing. And so I like doing this in a lot of necklaces, is just having a black and white element spaced out. Just me, you know, it's just what I do. So anyway, here's how you would do something using a black and white cane. All right, cutting a slice, and it's probably about 2 millimeters. Now I'm going to roll it through my pasta machine through setting number 2 and then 3. Now I'm going to put this edge on the rollers. Could do it the other way and spread it out this way, but I like sort of the scale of this. The clay will get spread out, but it'll get spread out that way. So the separation between the rungs on the ladder will be greater. That distance will be increased. So now I'm going to roll again through setting number 3. Let's go through setting number 4 again so you can see. It just kind of spread out this way. So I think setting number 4 is fine. So I'm just going to cut off an end, and then I'm going to press the 10 millimeter side against, and you can't see it, but I can. 10 is a little bit narrow, so I'm just going to do it again using the 15 millimeter side. Okay, so that I think is better. 15 millimeters. Now let's take them, and I've got these 2 strips. I'm gonna take this and just wrap it around the equator. Now for me, didn't need to cover all the way to the hole. I think that's unnecessary. Okay, good deal. Now roll. Okay, now let's flatten. And restore the hole. Like so. So I've showed you how to make 3 beads. Using a conventional regular old round, using a square, and working from a slice of a cane, a pattern slice. Okay. All right, so all my beads are strung, and here they are. As you can see, I'll tell you something. I didn't really think too hard about where each individual bead went. I just strung them, and if I thought something was wrong, I just corrected it. Like my original piece had this piece in this position, which meant that these were just too close. So I unstrung and I switched the order of these 2 pieces, and it looks much better now. Okay. Now I'm stringing on tiger tail. This is very thin. You know, honestly, you don't have to use very thick. I'm gonna sneeze. Tiger tail. Excuse me. Whew. You don't, because tiger tail is very strong. And, you know, to tell you the truth, there's nothing here that's going to cut into the tiger tail at all. And so I use a very thin, light gauge tiger tail. Okay, so in between each bead, I have just a little spacer. These are kind of interesting. I got these from Temu, and they're actually triangular. See, they're triangle shaped, but when you look from the side, they look round. I didn't know they were triangular. Wouldn't have made any difference anyway. I like spacing the beads out just a little bit of space there, and every now and then you get like this flash of gold, which I think is nice too. Now, this is not a long necklace. This is not, it's not exactly a choker. A choker might be here or here. You know, chokers are quite small. So this is going to hang probably below, a bit below my collarbone. All right, so let's secure the clasp. Now, this is an interesting finding. I found this on Temu as well. It is a crimp bead. You thread through the hole, but to secure it, see this little, see that thing sticking out right there? Well, you take your pliers and you squeeze and you push it in. And that's how this particular one works. I tried it with another one I had, slightly different design, and it was fine. So let's give this a go. Thread through, go through your clasp, come back through like so, slide it up, and take your pliers. It's helpful if you have flat nose. I have a pair of flat nose that I've had forever, like an ancient pair of flat nose, if I can find it. Good Lord. Look at, oh, I found it. These are ancient. Look at this. Really old tools. But hey, works. Now I'm going to take my flat nose, and I've got it like that. See where that little thing sticking out is? See it? And now I'm just going to push. And you know, it isn't the easiest thing to do, to push it in, but I guess that's good because you don't want it to be easy to come out either. Okay, now let's see. Did you grab? Basically, what this seems to be for me is, and I can't slide it. Oh, I did slide it, so that means it's not quite tight enough. Let me slide it back up and give this a go again. But it seems to function as the crimp and the cover. You know, they do have covers for crimps. I even have some, but I always forget to use them. Okay. I think I got it in. Yep. Not going anywhere. All right. So that is sort of like a combo crimp and cover at the same time. Just make sure you squeeze it down in there enough. It's kind of tough when it's round like this. I've got to get the right... Hello, where are you? Where are you? There you are. Okay, that's it. Let me slide these up. We're going to secure the other one. As I'm sliding, I'm just going to send this extra tail through a couple of beads. And this is a good length. It shouldn't come out. Okay, let's get them all together. Swing this around like so. Grab another one of these little doogies. I think I'm gonna like these a lot. Of course, as I said, I could have been using covers, crimp covers, but I wasn't. Okay, I can even take this apart. Take this and bring it down like so. And here I'm going to thread back through the crimp and then back through a few beads. Okay, this is going to help me. This will help me a bit rather than having and I'm pulling the excess now like so. Okay, so stay there for a bit. I'm just pulling the excess like so. Oh my God, there are two there. I really should restring. Okay, I'm gonna redo this because I just noticed I have 2 of these instead of 1. I'll be back. Okay, peeps, I made the correction. Here we go. Let's make sure that this is, there aren't any big spaces. I don't have to tighten it up more. And I think we're good to go. So let me secure this now. And see, this is going to be a little more difficult because, well, because there are things that might get in the way. Just might. Like my spacer beads, for instance. Okay. Okay. All right. That's good. That's very good. Okay. Perfect. P-I-R-F-I-C-T. Perfect. Okay, so let's cut the tail off of the tiger tail. I always called it, I used to make costume jewelry, and we always referred this to as tiger tail. It's this wound metal that's coated with plastic, and I don't know if you still call this tiger tail. I don't know. I mean, old habits, old dogs. You know the drill. Anyway, so there it is. We are done. Okay, peeps, we're at the end of class. We made a nice Millefiori necklace. I really like this one. I will wear this one because it's comfortable and small. You guys know a lot of times I make very large things that aren't entirely practical. So this I find to be a very practical thing. Now, it'd be cute as a bracelet too. You can make little, elastic bracelets. Be very cute. Very, very, very. And it's a good way to use canes that you have. Now, as I said before, if you don't happen to have a lot of canes, well, you don't need to make difficult or complicated ones to make something like this. Simple bullseye canes do the trick. That's simple bullseye. That's a simple bullseye. So you can see jelly rolls. So nothing has to be terribly complicated for a piece like this. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the class, and if you did, I hope you will like and subscribe, and keep checking in. I try to put up classes every week. So for today, I am Donna Kato, and I am signing off. Bye.